Hey, what's up, everyone? I am so excited to show you Gemini 3.0, Google's latest and greatest and the best language AI model out there today. And to give you like a quick demonstration, I built this app purely through Gemini. I basically said, create an app that can track me through my computer's camera, and it's like a personal AI boxing coach. So it puts up little targets on the screen, and then it tracks my hand movements to see if I'm boxing correctly and gives me marks. And that's exactly what it builds. So I'm going to show you the little light combination over here. Coach is preparing my routine. Let's see if this works. All right. So I have like the jab over there, cross. There we go. Jab, cross, hook, hook. No. There we go. Jab, cross, cross, hook, and done. Awesome. And so that was Google's Gemini 3.0 in the AI studio. And I'm going to get to all of this, how I built this, and all the other things that Gemini can do. But before we get to that, let's start with what is Gemini 3.0, how does it work, and how does it compare to all the other AI models that are out there right now? So Gemini 3 is the latest and greatest version of Google's Gemini series of language models. Gemini 2.5 Pro was the previous version, and when Gemini 2.5 Pro came out, it was actually the best version amongst all the other existing models at the time. And then Claude Anthropic came out with Sonnet 2.4.5, and GPT-5 came out, and they sort of got a little better. But Gemini 3 today is head and shoulders above the rest. Like it is a step above, right? And I want to show you some of the performance marks over here. So these are the benchmarks across a variety of tests and exams that we give in the industry to all these models that come out. Humanity's last exam here is a reasoning exam to see how well the AI model can think through complex problems. And here we have Gemini coming out at 37.5, uh, way above the previous version of Gemini, as well as Claude and GPT-5. We have visual reasoning, scientific knowledge, maths, agentic video, coding as well. And so if you can see here, all of these coding benchmarks, again, Gemini is head and shoulders above the rest. GPT-5 sort of comes close here. Terminal benchmark is 54%, again, much higher. The only thing it's sort of comparative to Claude and GPT-5 is the SWE software engineering benchmark. But with the agentic abilities and the tool use, I believe it is a much better coding agent as well. Now, along with the Pro version, there's also the Deep Think version, which is basically gives more time to for the model to reason through things that require creativity, strategic planning, and heavy reasoning. So again, in those same reasoning and scientific knowledge puzzles and benchmarks, you can see Deep Think is even further ahead of Pro on all of these benchmarks. So what does it mean for you? Well, I will show you an example of its coding abilities, which I'll get to again in more depth. But basically, with Gemini 3, it is basically your all-in-one AI model. It can do vision, it can do sound, it can do video, it does reasoning, creative writing, coding. You can learn anything with it, you can build anything with it, you can plan anything with it. It is good across everything that you may need an AI model for, whether it's in your work or your day-to-day life or whatever else. And it is live for everyone, so you can get access to it through a number of different ways. Google being Google has 6 or 7 different products, some with the same name, some with different names. It's very confusing, and you can access Gemini 3 from all of them. But basically, the first way is through the Google search, which is what they're calling, they have a new AI mode tab right here in Google search, which I'm going to show you in a second, that allows you to, when you're searching something, it uses AI mode to generate the answer for you, but also generate UI and interactive elements if it determines that's what's needed for that question that you're asking. So here's an example of AI mode. And you see here, you have a little PDF which you can drop in. It's just like your Google search interface, right? And you click on AI mode and you sort of enter that PDF and you ask it to explain it to you. And it understands that maybe you need some sort of visualization for this. So it generates a text explanation, but then it creates this little in-window app that you can use to kind of simulate how DNA or RNA works. Um, and so that's amazing, right? It can just like build things for you on the fly in the search itself, and you don't need to kind of know how to code or anything like that. The second way to get access to it is through the Gemini app, which you may have on your mobile phone, or you can access it on gemini.google.com on the website. And this is your ChatGPT like interface to interact with Gemini. Uh, you want to select thinking over here. So there's two models basically available here. This fast model is the flash model, which is not as powerful but is really fast. And then the thinking model is what we're talking about here, Gemini 3.0. And so you could have it do anything. You could upload data and have it analyze it. You could upload a PDF and have it explain it. You could ask it to write a blog post or a story or whatever. I'm going to show you an example of how it can do creative writing through the Gemini app. So I'm asking it here to write a blog post on the Gemini 3.0 model in the tone and style of a sci-fi novel. Let's see how it goes. So it should be thinking about it, and then, oh, here we go. It's already just started generating, which is amazing. The whispers began as a faint hum, a resonance in the deep network. And then came 3.0. Amazing. And so there you go. It like sounds like a sci-fi novel. It even generated like a weird, uh, creepy image for me as well. But yeah, you've got like creative writing as well through Gemini 3.0. And even just reading through this, right? Like it sounds so much better than other models. It reads really well. It doesn't have that AI slop, the kind of like when you read AI stuff, like if it was purely generated from AI, especially ChatGPT, it's generated by AI, but here you can't really tell at all. In fact, with this little small little demonstration, I can't tell at all that it was generated by AI. And then the third way to access Gemini 3 is through the AI Studio. So this is Google's developer backend and playground where you can play with a bunch of different APIs, their image generation API, their video generation API, Google Gemini 3 as well. And they have sort of this thing called build mode, which is kind of like a vibe coding thing where you could just like paste in a prompt. As you can see here, I say, build me an app that is a boxing teacher, choose me a computer's camera to track my hands, display on the screen some image to tell me what combination to throw. So you saw the little paddles, and then track my hand, show me hitting the objects. And so it understood what I was saying and it went further, right? It even like generated this little scoring system, the punches, the streak, estimated calories, and also like the different styles of like light fighter and champion exercises. So it one-shotted this whole thing, right? It ran for 125 seconds. It's basically 2 minutes. Generates all the code, and then you have this app that just works. And it's amazing. It's fantastic that it just like one-shots the whole thing, and it just really understands what I want, and even create something like that surpassed my expectations. Now, I have an entire video around the AI Studio, so if you want to learn more about how it works, go check out that video. In this one, I'm not going to go into too much detail about how the AI Studio works itself, but suffice it to say that I think the AI Studio is really great if you wanted to prototype things really fast. So if you are, say, building an app, or you're a product manager, or you're a designer, or you're starting a new company, you want to quickly generate some new variations, say, of a landing page, of a little sort of new feature or functionality, this is a great place to go. Because it can sort of just show it to you all in the browser, and you can play with it right there, see if it works, tweak the code, and then you can have a look at the code and download it or push it to your GitHub or somewhere else. But if you want to do more heavy development, you look, building backend services and stuff like that, then the next one, which I'm going to show you, is a better choice. So the fourth way to access it is through the CLI, the command line interface. And if you go into terminal and you type in Gemini, it opens this up, assuming you've installed the Gemini CLI. If you haven't installed the Gemini CLI, just Google Gemini CLI. You'll find the install instructions. Just copy that, paste that into your terminal, and you should be good to go. It goes through a bit of a setup, and then you will see this interface. And this is essentially like Claude Code or Amcode or Droid by Factory or whatever else, any of those AI agentic command line interfaces that you may have used or may have heard of. And if you don't really know how those work, have a look at my Claude Code video, where I explain how it works in the context of Claude Code, obviously. But Gemini is basically the same thing, right? So you come in here and you can sort of, you type in anything. It interacts with the Gemini model via the API, and then you can ask it to do things. So in this case, I could ask it to build a game, an app, a website, whatever I want in here. And like I said, the AI Studio is great for if you want to sort of create prototypes, visualizations. But if you're doing like serious coding work, a lot of developers use a CLI or an IDE as well, or a combination of both. And I'm going to show you the IDE right after this. But first, let's get a project going. Let's say build me a personal finance expense tracker or personal finance app that uses AI to look at screenshots or allows me to upload receipts and uses AI to categorize it. That was a very topsy-turvy way of explaining what I want, but the AI thing that I'm using here, Whisperflow, gets it right. So like, build me a personal finance expense tracker that uses AI to look at screenshots, or allows me to upload receipts, and uses AI to categorize. There you go. All right. So it's just going to take this sort of single prompt, which I probably could do a lot better job of explaining exactly what I want. But I also think that Gemini 3.0 is very good at really understanding, especially requests like this, where it's not rocket science to build this. So it just figures out exactly what needs to be done, how it should work, and it comes up with a plan. And so yeah, I need the Google Gemini API key. So that's perfect. And okay, yeah, I think this is good to go. Yes, let's build it. So it's going to build all of this, and while it's building that, I'm going to show you the new IDE that Google released. Okay, and the fifth and final way to access Gemini that I'm going to show you today, there are actually a couple more ways, but this is Google's newest IDE. It's called Anti-Gravity, however you want to pronounce it. And it is basically a VS Code fork. It is a VS Code fork. Currently, it's just a clone of VS Code and looks exactly like VS Code. And, as you can see over here, you have your file explorer. And you can see that when I kicked things off in the CLI just before this, Gemini went ahead and started to build out all the files, and you can already see it pop up here. So it's writing all the code for our little expense tracker app. And then on the side here, you've got this little agent. So, you can kind of maybe chat and say, explain this, right? And let's just do. So I can choose the model Gemini as well, and I can go with faster planning. Fast just basically means run right away, and planning is using reasoning if you want to do like heavier builds or more complex features. But yeah, basically, essentially, it's like Cursor, like Windsurf, like VS Code, but it's Google's newest IDE that uses Gemini 3.0, and I think it's maybe the only one right now that has 3.0 high, which is kind of like the more powerful version, and there's 3.0 low, which every other coding agent now has access to. There is one other thing here that's different about this, and it's called their agent manager mode. So in the agent manager mode, as opposed to what you're seeing here, where you're sort of like looking at the code and then you're like chatting with the agent and sort of working, you can go in and edit the code yourself. The agent manager mode is basically if you want to like spin up an agent and let it run. And it's kind of like similar to the CLI, where you just tell it to do one thing and it goes. But the difference here is you can do multiple agents at the same time. So I can just spin up and say, research practice for building personal finance apps, right? And I could just like have it run in the background and sort of come back to it later whenever I want. And it just like I could create multiple agents that just go and do its own thing, right? And in this case, I'm asking it to do some research. And maybe build out like a feature plan or something like that for me. But you could do many other things. You could have one agent that's just going and running and working on the front end, and another that works in the back end, so on and so forth. Anyway, anti-gravity deserves its own video, which I will be creating tomorrow. So if you found all of this useful and you want to learn more about how to use anti-gravity and to build out an entire app that you can actually run, deploy on the internet and get people to use, subscribe, subscribe below wherever that button is, and you'll see that pop up tomorrow. But um, before we end this video today, I want to show you that personal finance tracker. Here we go. This is our personal finance tracker. As you can see here, I can add a little expense over here. Um, Food for $100, and then you can categorize it. You can set the date, and let's just set it for today and add the expense. And so you can see the expense history. I've also uploaded a little receipt that I just got from my lunch, and we're going to see if it works. I'm going to click scan the receipt, and oh, it did not work. All right. Well, part two of this video coming up where I sort of build this out even better and use AI to scan the receipt.